a depth of 12,500 feet. Here, in the eternal icy night, the pressure reaches a crushing 6,000 pounds per square inch. Imagine an elephant standing on every single square inch of your body. In this hostile world, where any human would perish instantly, lies the most famous ship in history. We thought we knew everything about it, but recent laser scanning has revealed something that sent a chill down scientists' spines. The Titanic is not down there alone. Who or what is now running the show in the cabins of the dead? And why is the ship vanishing right before our eyes? Today you will learn the truth that has been hiding in the darkness for more than 100 years. Why is the beautiful legend of the iceberg and the giant gash in the hull a lie? What creature, extinct for millions of years, left its mark on a ship from 1912? And why are scientists certain that in a couple of decades, not even rust will remain of the legend? Robert Ballard's expedition in 1985 was not originally looking for the ocean liner at all. It was a secret mission to find sunken nuclear submarines. Ballard made a deal. If he found the subs, he would be allowed to use the remaining time to search for the Titanic. When the cameras finally stumbled upon one of the giant boilers, joy turned to horror. A scene of gruesome catastrophe appeared before the researchers. The Titanic is torn in two. The bow, having retained its shape, plunged into the silt like a giant spear, burying itself up to the anchors. But the stern, lying 2,000 feet away, turned into a mangled mess. The decks there pancaked on top of one another, the plating turned inside out by the explosion of air during the descent. The myth that the ship went under whole and sleeps on the bottom was destroyed. This is not peace. This is a battlefield where steel lost to physics with a deafening crash. But the most frightening discoveries awaited us not on the outside. For decades, we looked at the Titanic as if through a keyhole. Submersible lights snatched only a few yards of space from the pitch darkness. We never saw the full scale of the tragedy. But quite recently, in 2023, a true technological revolution occurred. The company Magellan sent 2 autonomous deep-sea drones to the wreckage. They worked underwater for more than 200 hours, methodically scanning every millimeter of the bottom. These were not just cameras, they were high-precision 3D laser scanners. The devices took 715,000 images and collected 16 terabytes of data. Supercomputers spent weeks stitching this into a single whole, creating a digital twin. For the first time in history, we saw the Titanic entirely, as if all the water had been instantly drained from the Atlantic. The detail is shocking. On the model, you can make out the serial number on a propeller blade and even read the manufacturer's name on the winch mechanisms. But this perfect, terrifyingly clear map revealed a terrible truth. We are not just studying history, we are watching its complete disappearance in real time. Comparing the new scans with grainy footage from expeditions of the 80s and 90s, scientists were horrified. The ship is collapsing. It is falling apart at a frightening speed. The famous crow's nest, from where Lookout Frederick Fleet shouted the fatal iceberg right ahead, is gone. It simply dissolved, fell, and crumbled into dust. The gymnasium, the roof of which held until recently, has now caved in. The captain's cabin, where Edward Smith perhaps made his final decisions, is now open to all currents. The wall simply fell away, exposing the famous porcelain bathtub. The ship's bow is sinking deeper into the bottom under its own monstrous weight, and corrosion is eating away the metal faster than the most pessimistic forecasts predicted. The computer simulation's verdict is merciless. We have only a few decades left, maybe 30 or 40 years, and only a shapeless orange stain of iron oxide will remain on the bottom. But what exactly is killing the giant? It is not just salt water. The enemy is far more insidious. We were taught by textbooks and movies. The Titanic raced through the darkness, hit an iceberg, and the ice, like a sharp knife, ripped open the side, leaving a 300-foot jagged wound. It sounded logical. It explained the speed of the sinking. But modern acoustic research and 3D scanning have proven no giant hole exists. It is a fiction. Instead of one mortal blow, the drone saw a series of small dents, narrow cracks, and separated seams. The total area of real damage through which water entered is laughably small, barely 12 square feet. The iceberg didn't cut the metal, it beat it. It pressed against the plating until the structure gave up. The ship wasn't stabbed. It died from a multitude of small cuts. Water didn't rush in through a huge wound, but through thousands of narrow slits that formed between the steel plates. But why did mighty British steel yield to the ice so easily? The answer was found not on the ocean floor, but in a metallurgist's laboratory. Scientists analyzed hull fragments raised from the bottom and revealed a fatal chemical secret. Titanic's steel was considered the best for its time, but it contained too much sulfur and phosphorus. In the warm waters of the Caribbean, it would have been strong and elastic. But in the freezing Atlantic, at a temperature of 28 degrees Fahrenheit, this metal changed its properties. It became brittle. This phenomenon is called brittle fracture. Upon impact, the hull didn't bend to absorb the shock. It cracked like glass or cheap plastic. But the real horror hid in the rivets. 3 million rivets held the ship together. In the central part of the hull, they used high-quality steel and machine riveting. But in the bow and stern, where the complex curve of the hull required manual labor, they used rivets made of wrought iron. These contained microscopic inclusions of slag. The scans confirmed it was in the bow, where these weaker rivets were located, that the seams came apart. The rivet heads simply popped off like buttons from a shirt when the pressure of the ice became critical. The Titanic went to sea with a glass jaw, and the very first hit became fatal. When the drone camera peered into the former first-class dining saloon, it saw a surreal picture. The walls, ceilings, remains of chandeliers, everything is covered in strange rusty icicles. They have been named rusticles. For a long time, we thought this was just the result of chemical oxidation. But when a manipulator arm took a sample, it turned out to be fragile, porous, and alive. This was not chemistry. This was aggressive biology. These formations are complex bacterial cities. DNA analysis shocked microbiologists. This is a completely new species of bacteria named Halomonas titanicae. These microscopic monsters evolved here in total darkness and under monstrous pressure with one goal: they feed on the ship. According to scientists' estimates, these bacteria eat about 400 pounds of iron every day. For them, the Titanic is a giant all-you-can-eat buffet. The ship is being digested alive by billions of organisms that the catastrophe itself created. The drone combed not only the interior but also the vast debris field around it. And there, amidst the silt and sand, lies the most poignant evidence of the tragedy: shoes. They lie in pairs next to each other, so neatly, as if a person had just taken them off to lie down and rest. But there is no person. Over 100 years in the aggressive marine environment, flesh, bones, and even clothing have completely dissolved. But the leather of the shoes, having undergone a chemical tanning process during manufacturing, proved too tough for the bacteria. It was preserved. Each such pair is a tombstone marking the spot where a body touched the bottom. Nearby lie suitcases, porcelain dishes, unopened bottles of champagne. Do you know why they didn't explode? The pressure inside a corked bottle of champagne almost perfectly matches the pressure at the bottom of the ocean. A grim physical balance saved the fragile glass. But among this graveyard of things, one find stands out from the overall picture. It glinted with gold in the spotlight, forcing the operators to freeze. Artificial intelligence, analyzing thousands of images of the bottom, discovered a necklace, a thin gold chain, an unusual shape, and in the center, a pendant. It wasn't a diamond or a ruby. Paleontologists and jewelers, looking at the high-definition images, gasped. It is a megalodon tooth, the tooth of a giant prehistoric shark, the ruler of the oceans that went extinct millions of years ago, set in gold. What was this incredible artifact doing on board the most modern ship of the early 20th century? Was it a gambler's lucky charm or a gift from an eccentric collector to his beloved? We don't know. The owner could not be found, and by law, raising the necklace from the bottom is forbidden. It is the perfect mystery, connecting prehistoric monsters, human hubris, and our modern technology in a single point. The drone showed us the truth. The Titanic still holds thousands of secrets, but there is almost no time left to solve them. We are the last generation to see the Titanic as a ship and not a pile of debris. Bacteria and gravity will finish the iceberg's work. Soon the legend will disappear, leaving us only digital copies and a lesson. Even an unsinkable giant is powerless before nature. Until next time.